Earnings. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is another live stream. I hope everything's working. Let me load in
Singapore Exchange Securities Trading Limited.
the webcast.
The company does not
see it
assume
now
any
and hear it
obligation
in
to
the background.
update any forward-looking statements except
Call has
as
just
required
started,
under applicable law.
and
Please also note that
I will
NIO's
add my
earnings
commentary
press
during
release
this
and
call.
this conference call include
If
discussions
there should be
of
any problems with
unaudited
the audio or
GAAP
the
financial
stream itself,
information as well as
and
unaudited non-GAAP
this will,
financial
as always,
measures.
be available
Please refer to NIO's
in
press
the end
release,
as a
which
recording.
contains a
But
reconciliation
as of now, during the live stream,
unaudited
everybody
non-GAAP
who's subscribed
measures
for
to
1 year
comparable
or
GAAP
more
measures.
can actually
With that, I
ask
will now turn the
questions or
call
provide
over
comments
to
in the
our
comment
CEO,
section, and I
Mr.
will be
William
taking
Li.
some
William,
time,
please go
either
ahead.
during the live stream if
Hello
I find the
everyone,
time,
thank you
or
for joining
afterwards
NIO's 2024
to go
Q4
through them.
full year earnings call. In
Now we got
Q4,
Libin
the
speaking.
company delivered a total of 72,689 smart EVs, setting a new quarterly record. In December, our monthly deliveries surpassed 30,000 for the first time. For 2024, the company's total deliveries reached 221,970, marking a 38.7% increase year over year. The NIO brand continued to lead the premium segment, delivering 201,209 vehicles, securing a 40% market share in China's BEV segment priced above 300,000 yuan. The Onvo brand delivered 20,761 vehicles in the mainstream family market. The market share of the Onvo L60 has been steadily increasing since its launch, ranking among the top 3 in China's BEV SUV market price between 200,000 and 300,000 yuan. In January and February, due to seasonality and the Chinese New Year holiday, the company delivered 27,055 vehicles. We expect the total deliveries in Q1 to reach 41,000 to 43,000 units, reflecting a year-over-year growth of 36 to 43%. On the financial side, our efforts in supply chain optimization and cost control have delivered strong results. NIO's vehicle margin improved to 14.9% in Q4, while Onvo achieved a positive vehicle margin in the early stage of production run-up. As a result, the company's overall vehicle margin reached 13.1% in Q4. At the same time, the profitability of our after-sales services continued to improve, along with growth in technology service revenue, leading to a positive gross margin in other sales in Q4. Now, I'd like to share some updates on our products and operations. Starting this year, our 3 smart EV brands have entered a new product cycle. For the premium brand NIO, at NIO Day on December 21st, we launched the NIO ET9, a flagship smart executive sedan. As the result of NIO's 10-year tech innovation, ET9 set a new benchmark for premium smart executive EVs. With industry-leading technology and a distinctive experience, it has been well received by users in the segment. The first edition, in a limited offering of 999 units, sold out within hours, and the signature version continued to see strong demand. ET9 delivery will begin at the end of this month. Besides, NIO's version products, ET5, ET5T, ES6, and EC6, will launch their 2025 models in Q2, featuring upgrades in design, cabin experience, and smart driving chip. Moreover, with another major product launch in the second half of this year. The enhanced product lineup will further solidify NIO's leadership in the premium BEV market while driving its overall profitability. For the mainstream mass market brand Onvo, the first product L60 gained strong recognition among family users for its safety, space, class-leading energy efficiency, and a convenient recharging experience. Onvo's second product, L90, is positioned as a flagship large family SUV. It will be introduced in Q2 and delivered in Q3. Onvo's third product will be launched in Q4, forming a well-rounded SUV lineup to cater to a broader range of mass market users. For the high-end small car brand Firefly, since its debut in December 2024, Firefly has received broad attention, particularly from young buyers and families looking for a second car. The brand is set to launch and begin delivery in April, leveraging NIO's sales network for rapid market expansion. With these three brands, the company is building a comprehensive product matrix spanning 150,000 Rand to 800,000 Rand, catering a diverse user group. As we expand our sales and service networks, we are set to reach more users and drive sustainable growth. In terms of smart driving technology and experience, AI technology continues to drive us towards our vision of relieving stress and reducing accidents. Prioritizing AI-based safety enhancements, NIO released the industry-best automatic emergency steering feature. It leads the market in speed range, object detection, and use case coverage. To date, NIO's smart safety has prevented over 3.4 million potential accidents for users, and the release of AES has further improved driving safety. Meanwhile, we've made breakthroughs in switching to our next generation architecture based on the NIO World Model, NVM, will provide driving, parking, and safety assistance across all scenarios. The early bird program will begin in early April, with mass release gradually rolled out. Globally, NIO has 183 NIO houses and 462 NIO spaces, while Onvo has 449 stores in China, ensuring a well-balanced sales coverage. On the service side, the company operates 388 service centers and 64 delivery centers. We are putting more efforts in improving operational efficiency so as to better support our new product cycle and deliver on exceptional user experience. As of now, the company has deployed 3,245 power swap stations worldwide, including 970 stations on highway in China, having provided over 69 million swaps for NIO and Onvo users. In addition, NIO has built over 25,000 power chargers and destination chargers. Battery swap remains the preferred recharging solution for NIO users on long trips. During the Chinese New Year holiday, we set a new record with over 137,000 battery swaps in a single day, with top stations handing over 180 swaps. With unmatched speed and convenience, battery swaps is the optimal recharging solution for long distance and holiday travel. It's a strategic advantage where we reinforce our competitive edge of the BEV market. laying a strong foundation for the sales growth of our 3 brands during the upcoming product cycle. We will actively engage with partners in more countries and regions to expand our global footprint. As we grow our global sales channels and start flight deliveries, the company is accelerating its global expansion while delivering best-in-class EV solutions to users worldwide. The company remains committed to social responsibility and sustainability. In December, MSCI upgraded the NIO's ESG rating from A to AA. In general, Corporate Knights ranked NIO as the #1 car company in its list of 2025 Global 100 most sustainable companies. The competition landscape in the smart EV industry is evolving rapidly, making 2025 a critical year for the market reshaping. This year, with 9 new models across 3 brands, the company is forming a comprehensive product lineup, while the tech-driven cost optimization is further enhanced profitability. With global expansion picking up speed, the company will be able to unlock new revenue opportunities. In the meantime, the company is enhancing operational capabilities and business awareness across teams, ensuring greater value creation and efficiency. With this action in place, we are confident in navigating fair competition and achieving our full-year operating targets. Thank you for your support. With that, I will now turn the call over to Stanley for Q4's financial details. Over to you, Stanley.
Thank you, William. Let's now review our key financial results for the fourth quarter of 2024. Our total revenues reached 19.7 billion RMB, increased 15.2% year-over-year and 5.5% quarter-over-quarter. Vehicle sales were 17.5 billion RMB, up 13.2% year-over-year and 4.7% quarter-over-quarter, primarily driven by higher deliveries, partially offset by a lower average selling price due to changes in product mix. Our other business segments also delivered solid performance. Other sales were 2.2 billion RMB, grew by 33.8% year-over-year and 12.7% quarter-over-quarter. The annual growth was from increased sales of parts, accessories, after-sales vehicle services, and provision of power solutions, along with a rise in sales of technical R&D services. The increase quarter-over-quarter was driven by higher sales in technical R&D services, used cars, and our parts, accessories, and after-sales vehicle services. Looking at margins, vehicle margin was 13.1% in this quarter, compared with 11.9% in the Q4 last year and unchanged from last quarter. The year-over-year increase was mainly due to lower material costs per unit, as the margin turned positive this quarter, mainly due to the increase in the provision of technical R&D services, as well as the sales of parts, accessories, and after-sales vehicle services, with relatively higher margins. Overall gross margin was 11.7%, up from 7.5% in Q4 last year at 10.7% last quarter. Turning to OPEX, R&D expenses were 3.6 billion RMB, decreased 8.5% year-over-year, and increased 9.6% quarter-over-quarter. The year-over-year decrease was mainly driven by reduced personnel costs and design and development costs, while the quarter-over-quarter rise reflects additional investments in design and development, partially offset by the decreased personnel costs. SG&A expenses were 4.9 billion RMB, up 22.8% year-over-year and 18.7% quarter-over-quarter. The year-over-year increase was mainly driven by increased sales and marketing for new brands and products, and higher personnel costs from sales and service network expansion. The quarter-over-quarter increase was mainly due to the same enhanced sales and marketing efforts and higher professional services costs for general corporate functions. Loss from operations was 6 billion RMB, down 8.9% year-over-year and up 15.2% quarter-over-quarter. Interest and investment loss was 0.2 billion RMB, compared with investment income of 1.4 billion in 2023 Q4 and 0.3 billion in 2024 Q3, primarily due to the fair value change of equity investment. Other loss net in Q4 was 0.5 billion RMB, primarily due to the loss from the revaluation of overseas RMB-related assets caused by the depreciation of RMB against the US dollars this quarter. Net loss was 7.1 billion RMB, showing an increase of 32.5% year-over-year and 40.6% quarter-over-quarter. Lastly, we ended the quarter with total cash and cash equivalents, restricted cash, short-term investment, and long-term time deposits amounting to 41.9 billion RMB. That wraps up our prepared remarks. For more information and the details of our unaudited fourth quarter and full year 2024 financial results, please refer to our earnings press release. Now, I will turn the call over to the operator to start our Q&A session. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining in. I guess I don't have too much time for speaking currently because everything is happening in English with the prepared remarks, and possibly some of the analyst questions will be in English as well, but I guess the answers by Li Bin especially will be in Chinese. So I'll take that time to give you my remarks. So far, we've heard a wrap-up by Li Bin. No explanations yet on the bottom line, really, and the overall lift in the earnings in comparison to the expectations.
Because a lot of market focus is put on NIO's the latest round of restructuring. So just want to know that how much of cost saving would management expect to achieve, and when are we going to see the contribution emerging in upcoming quarters? That's my first question. Thank you.
好，谢谢 Tim。那我们确实从去年这个四季度开始，其实去年全年我们已经开始做了一。
Right. So again, thanks everybody for joining in. 100 people, that's awesome. Will be available as a recording after this earnings call. Now it's Li Bin offering the analyst question in Chinese. I will add my commentary on top of that. And make sure to be subscribed to be able to chat in the chat section. Afterwards, I will take some time to go through some of your remarks and questions. And so far, I've done another video with the earnings report takeaway, which was, I think, mainly a miss in both top line and bottom line regarding my business estimation, but also analyst estimations out there. So that's the unfortunate reality, but there have been also some good positives in there in the report so far. For example, stable margins, a better cash position than personally I anticipated. But we'll now have to see whether or not NIO has any explanations of going forward, the guidance, right? How they want to decrease the costs and also at the same time ramp the volumes. Because, of course, everybody's watching at the Onvo ramp, which is going slower than expected. And then with many new models coming in. So yeah, that's what will be the gist of this management call, where I'm hoping for some good insights and answers. But definitely would be a tough one for Li Bin today. And also a tough one for us as shareholders, right, to watch. So hope it works.
一个管理的措施。那么目标的话是让整个公司所有的团队都能够为经营目标负责任。那我们就看到了一些好的迹象，不管是在。
Sorry, guys. Seems to have been some issues with my microphone. Thanks for the comments in the comments section. Let me know if it's getting better now. I have my external mic hooked up. Again, just welcome to everybody. This will be a recorded live stream so you can watch it later as well. Now going through the remarks in the background by Li Bin.
Since last year, we have already started the cost mining initiatives, and for the 2024 full year, we were also on track for the cost reduction initiatives. As you can see in our vehicle margin, for Q4, it has fulfilled our expectation, and we will continue such cost reduction actions this year from multiple aspects, including supply chain, R&D, and in that case, we foresee that our vehicle margin will also continue to grow starting Q2. And in terms of expenses, in Q4 last year, as we have launched the new brand Onvo together with its product, we have started to make investments and expenses in developing its sales and service networks, as well as in the brand related activities. And such activities and expenses will continue in Q1 this year in building up the new brand and also the sales and service networks. But in the meantime, starting Q1 this year, we have started a all-employee comprehensive cost reduction initiative covering R&D, supply chain, sales, and also service teams. We call it CBU, or Sales Business Unit. Basically, we ask all the teams and employees to take the ownership and accountabilities of the company's operational targets. We already have seen some good results and actions taken voluntarily by the R&D teams, by the sales and service teams in reducing the cost and improving the efficiency.
那我相信从 Q2 开始就能够在报表上能看到，不管是在成本端还是在费用端一些显。
Right, so the first answer was around the cost reductions by Li Bin, who's now talking in Chinese again. Sorry about the problem with the audio before. This microphone is doing better. Anyways, so I think it's still not enough, right, to explain that you have cost-saving measures and so on, but the results
will be reflected in our balance sheet in the coming quarters starting Q2, as we continue to strengthen our cost control and also expenses management in the second half of this year, together with the improvements in the sales volume, in the vehicle margin, as well as in the expense control. We are confident that we are going to achieve our break-even target in Q4.
Okay, so I was just finishing my sentence exactly like, you can talk about cost reductions, but you need to guide more towards the point, and that's what we just heard.
The momentum. Will NIO stick to the Baoti brand strategy, or could potentially change Onvo to a sub-brand on the NIO to save costs and enhance efficiency? So that's my second question. Thank you.
好，谢谢。乐道今年这个以来的销量呢？
Now the analysts are coming straight to the questions about Onvo, whether or not to continue with the sub-brand strategy. Yeah, again, I was just finishing up my sentence around, we've heard about those cost reduction methods, which are now going on for 1 year, but we want to know when are they finally happening. And now Li Bin said guided towards Q2, although also mentioned that the investments in the Onvo launch and so on will also continue right now and has impacted this financial report. But Q2, the financial reports should start actually showing the improvements on the cost side. That's what he mentioned, which is a big takeaway from this management call so far. In comparison to the earnings report, which I discussed in another video before today, which has showed us that it's been a miss on the top line and the bottom line, unfortunately, with much more net losses this quarter again than I personally thought we would have. But then NIO already talked about in this introductory remarks about how the margins are staying intact, and now has also guided that they will continue on growing, and also that the first reductions in costs are being made. So that's kind of the takeaway for now. Let's see what they talk about Onvo now.
The question regarding Onvo, its sales performance starting this year didn't meet our expectation, and we have also reviewed the comprehensive reasons and causes for its performance. The first reason is because of the brand awareness and the brand awareness and the exposure. As Onvo is still a new brand, in terms of its brand awareness and awareness, it is actually far below its competitors. We have also done some study and research on the influence of the brand awareness of Onvo, and in terms of the brand awareness, it is only 1/3 of that of NIO. In that case, as we consumed all the existing order backlogs, we are facing larger pressures regarding the fresh orders. Starting this year, especially during and after the Spring Festival holidays, we have also taken a series of actions to help strengthen and improve the brand awareness and exposure. We have rolled out some offline advertisements in the train stations and also in the elevators of the apartment buildings. We have also doubled down on the social media campaigns to help improve the exposures, and we are seeing some good effects in helping Onvo being more famous and well known.
第二个原因还是我们的销售门店的覆盖，它也是有一个 ramp up 的过程。那到去年乐道上市的时候，在去年乐道上市的时候，我们有100家门店，105家门店。到去年年底的话呢，我们
All right, so getting straight to the point, this was obvious that we would be talking a lot about Onvo. I've always been on the conservative side towards Onvo and said, the brand awareness is a problem. That's exactly what he's mentioning now. Measures include now offline ads, social media campaigns, and such. We'll have to see whether or not that helps. I think it will take some time, actually. And that's what I said in other videos, they need to think about more outgoing marketing campaigns, stronger on the price, stronger doing guerrilla marketing, stronger going into the suburbs, in my opinion. But who am I to tell? Anyways, I think the product is good, but it really has the issue around the brand awareness. That's the truth. The question is, right, why don't they check that before the launch, right? That's a miss in the remarks, in the books of both Li Bin as well as the CEO of Onvo.
Regarding the coverage of the points of sales, we have been ramping up the sales store coverage of the Onvo brand. Last year, when we just launched the brand, we have around 105 stores in China, and by the end of last year, we have opened up another 100 stores, and so far we have more than 400 stores in China. Yet most of the stores are still quite new in terms of their efficiencies and the productivities. They are not yet to a mature level, so it will take some time for these new stores to start yield real results. We have also done a comparison between a mature store being in operations for more than 3 months in comparison to a newly established store. The productivity can be as different as 3 times. As this new store is getting more mature and skillful, we believe that they will also start to play a bigger role. So as you can see, we have made some investments in our sales and service networks in Q4 last year and also Q1 this year, and we've been under the pressure for this investment and expenses. Yet we also believe that this stores and the network will soon start to yield results and kicking with effect.
那当然，这个跟这个相关的是这个销售的 fellow 的这样的一些成熟度。那我们现在60%的销售人员是3个月以内加入公司的，所以他们的培训、他们的销售技巧的这个成熟，确实也有一个过程。那我们看到这些销售的 fellow， 我们的同事越来越成熟，我们看到最近他们的产出也。
I mean, what I just mentioned is resonating with exactly what I said, that it takes more time. It's natural, especially with this self-strategy, self-brand type of approach, the sub-brand approach, which the analysts talked about. And I mean, it seems like they are staying on this strategy in line that they will market Onvo as a separate brand, not being part of the NIO brand, as compared to, for example, XPeng, which is launching Mona in their own XPeng stores, right? So yeah, that's why they need to now work on the marketing and the operational side of those stores, and that's what they say they're doing. But that's definitely what is holding them back on the Onvo side currently. So it takes time.
And the third reason is also relevant to the maturity, that is regarding the maturity level of our sales force. For the fellow teams of the Onvo brand, 60% of them have been in the company for less than 3 months. And it will take some time to train the team and for the sales teams to polish their soft skills to be able to yield good results and make deals. As the team is getting more mature day after day, we also see that more and more fellows are now able to making deals. And we also encourage these fellows to do more proactive outreach by going out of the stores to actively reach out to the potential users and help expand the funnels. And this will also help us to improve the order performance. And for this year, if we look at the month-over-month trend for the number of fresh orders, it has been increasing steadily. And in terms of the number of test drives that we've been receiving and doing month over month, it is also breaking the record. And we believe that these fresh orders and the test drives will also soon be converted into orders and sales volume.
那我们还有一点的话呢，就是这个能够这个兼容乐道的换电站的数量，在过去的2个月里面也随着我们改造的换电站的增加，还有电池的数量的增加，那么这个乐道的用户可用的换电站啊，现在已经超过了1500座。那在前期因为电池的供应呢这个不足，所以我们换电站里面的周转电池呢是比较少的啊，那平均一个站只有1块电池，现在这个问题也已经解决了，所以这个对我们的用户体验也是非常大的一个提升，也是改进了我们用户的口碑。那我们也看到了。
I hope the microphone situation is getting better. Let me know again in the comments. I should actually now be using this external mic. Should be okay. It was okay in the first stream. Yeah, sorry about that, but thanks for tuning in. 500 people in this live stream about the earnings call of Li Bin, now talking straight to the point about Onvo and the problems that they've been facing so far, with lots of explanations to do. Will they convince the market with that? Certainly says and is obvious that they need more time for Onvo brands to grow. And as you can see here in the comment section, some people are not happy with that and say these are lame excuses, or they keep on repeating that story, right? So let's see.
The fourth reason is regarding the power swap stations availability for the Onvo users. As in the past several months, we've been making more progressive modifications on the power swap stations to make sure that they are compatible with the Onvo product, and also providing more batteries for the swap stations. Now more than 1,500 power swap stations in China are available for Onvo users. And also at the early stage of the product launch, we had the short supply of batteries. In that case, there was only one battery for the available power swap stations, not enough for the Onvo users to experience the full power swap service. But now we're supplying more batteries for the power swap. In that case, the experience for the power swap among Onvo users are also improving, also enhancing a better word of mouth for the brand. And also in many regions where we see more power swap stations available for Onvo users, we also see actually more sales volume for the Onvo products. Together with our Power Up County initiative, we believe that with more power swap stations available in the lower tier cities, this will also help improve the penetration rate of Onvo in those lower tier cities. And a very interesting number to share with you is that actually in 12 regions in China, the sales volume of Onvo has already outnumbered the volume of NIO. This is also a good effect or result of our dual brand synergy and also strategy.
那我们近期的这个销量的这个增长呢，确实也受到了一些来自于包括竞争啊，包括各方面的一些负面的舆情的影响啊。我们认为对我们的影响大概在根据我们的调研吧，大概在。
I mean, it's obvious that they are facing multiple problems here. They've outlined now 4 problems for NIO, for Onvo, and then, I mean, they just mentioned, of course, in some parts, Onvo is now already picking up, selling more than NIO, but we also have here the comment by Toronto Dave that NIO itself is not fast enough, right? So you can see, like, it's really burning everywhere. They need to put out those fires somehow. And as you can see also in the comments, some people are not trusting them with that approach because it's taking more time, because it's taking more resources and so on. regarding resources, that was one of the positives of this earnings report, that they still have 5.7 billion in cash. So they're not running out of resources in the next quarter. But what people like to see are the actual improvements that Lieben is talking here about the sales team on Onvo and so on. So yeah, that's what the market ultimately will tell NIO about whether or not they believe that this can happen.
And also another compound factor is that our recent sales volume is majorly affected by the fierce competition as well as the negative public opinions on the brand and also PR attacks. That has affected our volume by around 30 to 40%. But still, even against this difficult environment, we still see a very high user satisfaction on the product L60. Actually, L60 has the highest product user satisfaction among all the products launched by the NIO company. And we also see a pretty good referral rate on the L60. This has given us confidence on the product going forward. As we pick up speed with our orders and also test drives, as we further enhance the brand awareness, expanding our sales and service network, growing our team and their maturity level, and also enhance the coverage and availability of the power swap stations for the Onvo users, we believe that the sales volume of L60 will pick up and also fulfill our expectation.
所以效率提升方面，就是你刚才讲的这。
So this is a quite interesting one. First time I really heard him talking about how competition and some of those blackmailing campaigns are actually impacting 30 to 40% reduction in sales based on how the brand is being destroyed and such. So they're now aware of that and they're fighting back with some legal action, I guess. One good thing here, I think, is that the product Onvo is actually really, really good. So I think people who bought an Onvo, they will be satisfied with it and they will talk positively about it. So I'm not worried about word to mouth, but what certainly is a problem are the attacks by other competitors on the company. That's for sure. And I think it's part of the not satisfying enough marketing team that are not able to counter those attacks, I think. So they need to improve on that. But I think giving in today and really acknowledging that competitors are doing that is the first step.
Efficiency improvement and also the synergies can be leveraged between two brands. Actually, in terms of the after-sales services, power swap stations, and as well as the supporting functions such as finance, human resources, and some regional functions, this have been shared across two brands from the beginning. And recently, we are also making further adjustments in some regions for the supporting and the management roles. We are also try to have one team to oversee both brands, and we see some good effects by having one team overseeing two brands in terms of the sales and the service management. And in terms of the point of sales of Onvo or the sales network of Onvo, we will keep it separated and independent of the NIO brand, as these two brands targeting different user groups and also are from different brand segments.
那最近我们也有一些内部也在试行一些机制，让两个品牌的这个销售团队可以有内部的一些激励体系、激励机制，能够去帮助卖另外一个品牌的车。那我们也在看看这个。
So they highlight also some of the synergies that are obvious. That, for example, when delivery centers can both deliver NIO and Onvos.
We have the incentives and the policies to encourage the sales team to also sell the product from the other brand. We already have seen some good results by rolling out the pilot program.
Thank you, team.
Thank you. The next question is from Ben Wang from Deutsche Bank. Please go ahead.
我的问题呢是关于这个一季度的毛利率指引，以及四季度我们实现打平之后的我们的这个毛利率的一个假设啊，以及销量假设。My first question is about your guidance about gross margin, including the vehicle gross margin and overall gross margin. Meanwhile, you mentioned that you will expect even in the number 4 quarter this year. So what's your assumption in terms of gross margin and volume? 这是第一个问题。第二个问题呢，想问问看，我们之前全年目标是翻倍嘛？那经过这一季度以后，我们最新的一个销量目标指引是什么？ And my second last question is that previously you guided your 2025 volume will be double year-over-year after the first quarter. Can you provide update the volume guidance? Thank you.
你好，王明。关于那个毛利率啊，一季度呢，因为本身也是这个销售的淡季，再加上呢，我们未来品牌的这个产品啊，其中的这个5566也面临这个2025款的切换，所以呢，这个清库的影响呢，会给我们一季度的未来品牌的毛利率啊带来一定的这个压力。
All right, so far we've heard NIO explain 5 major points, how they explained not as good NIO or Onvo sub-brand launch. Whether or not that will satisfy the market, I think we'll see in the next couple of days. Maybe not only just today, but as the market takes those results in, and then obviously in the next couple of weeks and months with the next deliveries. We haven't heard substantially new stuff, I would say, so far, other than acknowledging that there have been campaigns against NIO and Onvo going on and such.
Questions on the vehicle margin. Normally, Q1 is the off-season in the sales of the vehicle products. And also in Q1, we're in between generations for our 5 and 6 series, as they will soon be upgraded to the model year 2025 to clean up the inventories for the existing generation. We are also under pressure regarding the vehicle margin for the NIO brand. And in terms of the Onvo brand, as William has mentioned, the sales performance of the Onvo product didn't meet our expectation in this year. Considering the amortizations and other factors, we are also under pressure and a challenging situation managing the Onvo products and its sales and its vehicle margin. So overall speaking, the company's vehicle margin in Q1 will not be as good as you would expect it based on our margin performance in Q4 last year. But still, our full year target is to achieve break even in Q4. In that case, we have also mapped out a roadmap of our product margin. For the NIO brand, we would like to achieve a vehicle margin of 20%, and for the Onvo brand, it will be 15%.
当然，这个毛利率的提升呢，我们也是取决于这两方面的工作吧。一个呢，我们也是从去年开始呢，也是进行了一系列的这个体系性的降本的工。
Okay, now a bit of serious and open talk. Q1 will suck in terms of vehicle margins because they're under pressure, but going forward, reiterating the profitability and now also putting out 15% for Onvo and 20% vehicle margin guidance when they achieve the profitability. So that's the outlook. I think definitely most people already know that Q1 will be bad. First of all, it's the seasonal side, which is weak. And then obviously we've seen the numbers coming in below expectations. So that shouldn't be a surprise. But now they're even already talking about that and not making any false hopes in this regard. And I think investors who are looking long-term should look beyond Q2. That's the reality with the margins and profitability in the end. But we get a reiteration for the Q4 plan. By the way, I do think that a break-even would be possible in Q4 this year, even if they don't meet their sales guidance, which they have given. But we will see whether or not they're actually sticking to that. I think I had some remarks which sounded like that, but that should be unrealistic in my opinion, right? I'm not expecting them to double sales this year on a year-over-year basis. We'll see whether or not we hear more about that during this call.
和分析的团队，那我们在前年的时候呢，也给他们从能力啊和影响力上也做了一些的这个提升。那现在这个成本的团队呢也会独立汇报给我。那每一个定点呢，如果超过成本核算的7.5%，也会上升到我和这个我们执委会的这个成员这边来审批。所以综合以上的这些措施呢，我们2024年其实实现了10%的一个整车报姆的降本。那我们相信呢，在2025年呢，这些措施呢我们还会持续来做。那我们也是有着非常这个激进的这个降本目标啊。 然后这个是一方面，然后另一方面，我觉得
regarding the actual actions that we have taken to control the cost and also improve the vehicle margin, there are several actions. The first is to implement a more systematic cost reduction initiative by making our products more platform-based and improving the commonalities across different products and also across brands. There are several examples. For example, we have implemented a overall platform strategy for the seats. Now the products from the NIO brand and Onvo brand share the same seat structure. With that, we are able to reduce the total BOM cost for the seat system by 10%. And the second example is regarding the smart hardware. We have standardized the interfaces of most of the smart hardwares in the vehicles. In that case, we can further reduce the costs on the cables and connectors. The piece price per vehicle is reduced from 2,000 RMB to only 1,000 RMB. And the third example is regarding the in-house developed parts and also components, as we've been making efforts in doing in-house development in the past 2 to 3 years, and we also see a very helpful cost reduction result over the past 2 years. For example, ET9 will soon be delivered with the NX9031, our chip for the smart driving. And this chip will also be available on the model year 25 for the 5 and the 6 series product, our volume product. In that case, the piece price will be decreased by around 10,000 RMB in comparison to the 4-O-ring solution. And in addition to this cost reduction measures, we are also taking some systematic measures. For example, we have a very capable team doing cost management, analysis, and engineering. And starting 2023, we have been enabling and empowering the team. And now the team directly reports to me for any quotation where nominating prices surpassing the cost estimation results by 7.5%, such nomination decisions will need to be escalated to the EC level for the joint approval. With all these measures taken together, in 2024, we managed to reduce our BOM cost by 10%, and we will continue such efforts in 2025.
OK， 第二个这个提升毛利率的因素呢，其实就是我们的这个新车。刚刚 William 也提到，我们今年有9款新车上市，当然这里面有一些是年型款，我们刚刚也讲会做一些成本的这个提升。那还有很
All right, we're hearing about some of the cost reduction measures. Okay, so we're hearing about some of the cost reduction measures and the implications. I think for the chips, I think that's really going to play out well. And then some other measures which they mentioned to reduce BOM costs by 10%. What is true here, and that's why I highlighted this comment though, is they need to keep the guidance accurate and not over-exaggerate. So that's the issue with the Onvo ramp which they promised, and maybe also for the year-over-year sales. We'll see whether or not they double down on that. But I agree with that. That's a problem for the expectations management, and that's why they're losing trust with investors. That's a good point. Why people are getting sick of promises, and then a problem with the realities that we are facing. But on the other hand, I also would like to remind that in the past we've gotten promises like the Q4 delivery numbers, which they actually achieved despite a very difficult environment. So it's not always just black.
Contributor of improved vehicle margin will be contributed by the launch of our new models. As mentioned by William, this year we're going to introduce and launch 9 new models, including completely new models as well as the model year facelifts. For the model year facelifts, they will help improve the overall cost for these existing models. And in terms of the new models, in the second half of this year, the NIO brand is going to unveil and introduce a major product with actually higher margin as well as more elevated brand and product positioning. This will help improve the overall vehicle margin of the NIO brand. And for the Onvo brand in Q2, actually in April, they will unveil their second brand, L90, and then start to deliver this product in Q3. And in the meantime, in Q4, Onvo is going to introduce another product, both products from the Onvo brand will target higher margin and also higher price segments. This will also help improve the overall product margin for the Onvo brand. So together with the cost reduction actions that we've been taking, as well as the margin increase driven by the new products, we will gradually achieve our margin targets in Q4 and also for the full year.
I think what they're discussing now, we don't have a real margin problem, right? They're telling us like how the margin will improve based on what. I think this report is one of the positives, how the margins are stable and will continue to get better over time. So I'm not so worried about that. For me, it's more like about the timing of how they make the brand launches and also the timing in connection to the actual results and the promises that were made. That's what they need to rather get in sync in order to create a coherent story again. Because it's all, it makes sense that if you have a transition that this is making pressure on average sales prices, on margins, on ramp ups and stuff, but they need to get better at those guidances, and then obviously on the operational side, you need to get back into a sync where people get some steadiness out of those guidances. That's the issue, not the margins.
And regarding your questions on the sales volume and the guidance for this year, in Q1, our sales guidance is to achieve a year-over-year growth of 36% to 43%, so around 40% year-over-year growth for the deliveries in Q1. And as for the full year, our target is still the same, just to double the sales volume from last year. And there are several drivers behind this. The first is the new car effect. As we've mentioned that this year, we're going to introduce 9 new products under 3 brands. Starting next week, we're going to deliver ET9, and with the launch and the delivery of these 9 new models, we will be able to fill up our sales volume for this year. And the second key driver is regarding the Onvo brand, as we are improving the overall network, sales network and service network of Onvo, enhancing the maturity level of the team and also strengthening its brand awareness. It will also gradually yield better results, even if it didn't fulfill the sales target we set for Q1, yet we are confident in the continuous improvement in the Onvo brand.
All right, that's an interesting one. Reiterating the full year guidance of 100% growth. Despite the fact that Q1 won't be that great in absolute numbers, people are disappointed by that, but still it's 40% year-over-year growth already for Q1. So you need to see the context also that brands like Tesla are actually even negative growth right now. So, we shouldn't be too negative always on the growth side, but the 100% year-over-year growth, I mean, it's really, really hard to believe, to be honest. And I think it's actually not even necessary, but it's reiterated there. And now definitely, if they set these expectations, they need to improve quickly. I mean, Q2 must be already a good quarter. Otherwise, there's no way they're going to get to 100% growth year over year. Let's see. I mean, if we get that, that will be outstanding. That would be a complete turnaround. But I'm personally not expecting 100% year-over-year growth for the full year. And I think it's even not necessary for Q4 break even. So for me, more important to see start of the net loss decreases than actually those high growth numbers. But maybe one is necessary for the other, right?
我们加大了在安徽的布局以后，那我们安徽的销量增长就非常的显著啊，那远远超过前2年的增长。包括湖北，我们去年增加了这个换电站以后，我们湖北去年的销量的增长也是远远超过我们的全年的平均的增长。那所以今年这些措施的话，换电站的这个网络效应，我们认为随着我们在更多的省市像我们以前销量不太有优势的一些区域，一些大的省，像河北像河南山东四川等等这样的一些地方，我们有非常大的机会去提高我们的这个市场份额，不管是蔚来还是乐道，特别是对于乐道还是更加有价值。
And also, further comment on the key driver behind the sales volume is the network effect of our power swap network and the recharging network in general. If you look at the cumulative sales volume of the NIO brand and the distribution of the sales, actually half of this volume is contributed by the sales in the Yangtze River Delta area. For the Jiangsu province, we have already achieved the Power Up County plan, which means that in every county in Jiangsu province, there is at least one power swap station. And for the Zhejiang province, we aim to achieve also county level coverage by end of this month, except for 2 islands where they will not have the power swap stations. And also for the power swap strategy in general, as you may know, our recent strategic partnership with CATL, this will further help us to expand our reach in the county levels with our power swap facilities. In the first half of this year, our power swap network will cover the counties of more than 10 provinces in China, and by the end of this year, cumulatively 27 provincial level divisions will have power swap stations available at the county level, and the network effect of this swap station will play a very important role because we have already proved that last year we doubled down our efforts on the power swap networks in bigger provinces like Hubei and Anhui provinces. And we already see some good results. Before, the swap stations were merely available in big cities, but then we find that the county level coverage is more important in promoting the sales. And for the sales volume in these 2 provinces, after we achieve the county level coverage, their sales volume is far above the average. And this year, we will continue such efforts to cover more counties in more provinces, especially big provinces like Henan, Shandong, and Sichuan. With that, we will help improve the overall market share and the market reach of not only the NIO brand, but also the Onvo brand.
Especially Onvo brand. 谢谢王斌。
Thank you. The next question is from Paul Gong from UBS. Please go ahead.
Hi, William. Thanks for taking my question. The AI and the robotics has been the very hot topic in this earnings season. In one of your peers' earnings call, the AI has been mentioned by 49 times during the whole call, but I guess it hasn't been mentioned here. Can you please remind us your latest thoughts on the AI, autonomous driving, robotics, etc.?
谢谢 Paul。那当然。
All right, the earnings call is going pretty much in the direction as expected. Lots of questions around the growth going forward, the idea how to save cost given the earnings report today. So this question about AI and the outlook of what NIO is doing there is a welcome change, I guess, for Li Bin. Other than that, I have to say, yeah, my personal estimations and expectations are not as high as these growth numbers that have been outlined. I do think we do see better growth going forward in the stronger quarters and with the metrics that they already outlined regarding, the better sales teams and so on. I'm not worried about the product on Onvo side, and with NIO, we'll have to see what the refresh brings. But generally, I think NIO is already a success story. The bigger issue that we're talking here is, how to win back the trust by investors. I think I already said, I think they need to work on their timing and expectations management. And maybe we'll see some very good positive surprises. I think I could imagine with this NIO World model that we will see something surprising there. And let's see whether or not Li Bin is currently in the background talking about what they're planning there. But I think that the investor focus around NIO is currently so much only on the problems, but not on its potentials, for a reason, of course. But maybe some investors are also a little bit blindsided on what this company could do if they turn around and when the battery swapping network kicks off and the partnerships come in, plus the AI initiatives in the area of autonomous driving and so on, help sales, help maybe some revenues and profitability streams in the future. I think the potential is there, but yeah, can they unlock it? That's the million-dollar question. So in that sense, we are back on the starting point where NIO once was, where you don't know whether or not it's going to be a failure or a success story. If it's a success, I think it's going to be a huge one and also rewarding shareholders. But currently, everyone's betting on NIO not making it, right? That's the point. So that's where we are. That's where we are in the discussions. Very low sentiment, very low point when it comes to the guidance and trust of management. But that's why I'm covering the company in the stock. It's very different from what's out there, and it's interesting. And they do lots of interesting stuff.
In the application of AI technologies, NIO is the first car company to introduce an AI companion in the car. It's Nomi, and it's loved and well received by many users. For Nomi, it has its own large language model capabilities, Nomi GPT, but on top of that, it is also supporting third-party large language models. With that, the satisfaction and also the interaction rate of the Nomi is growing. Nomi is also a quite profit-making IP with a lot of well-popular merchandise and also high take rate. And in addition to the AI application on Nomi, we also have AI applied to our smart driving technologies and experience. As last year, we have introduced the NIO World model, NWM, and the latest AD version or smart driving release will be based on the NIO World model. And actually, I have participated in some internal beta version tryout, and I can say that I really look forward to that version. It has quite good performance in terms of the active safety and in the experience in general. And of course, AI is a very important basic capabilities in terms of AGI, in terms of robots, in terms of the fundamental capabilities for AI. But for the foreseeable future, for us, we will mainly focus on our core business, that is the automotive products. And in that case, AI will be more of an enabler to achieve better product experience as well as better business and management, as AI itself is one of our top full stack capabilities, and it is ever present in every aspect of our business. And as many people are talking about how the automotive product is becoming an AI agent, and I believe that the company itself is also turning into an AI agent. But still, for the short term, our primary focus is still our core business as well as our operating targets. But a side note here is that NIO Capital has invested in a lot of AI companies, especially industry-leading AI companies. And in that case, we're in close contact with the cutting-edge technologies and also the outstanding founding teams in the AI arena. And in-house, we also have capable AI talent working on the relevant field.
Thank you, Paul.
Sorry, my second question. My second question is regarding the number of models. I think the company has 8 models at the same time right now, and after this year's new model launch, it would move into some mid-teens. Given the cannibalization between each other, and also one of the peers has demonstrated with even only one single model, the volume could still be achieved. Shall we consider to concentrate more into some blockbuster models and eliminate some of the less popular models to be more focused? What do you think is the most optimal number of models for each of the brands?
谢谢 Paul。那当然，这个从 NIO Onvo。
So regarding the reply about AI, I think Libin is staying quite based here and not hyping us up as much, highlighting Nomi as well as the NIO World model and what it can do, as well as reminding everybody that NIO's really invested into those technologies with NIO Capital as well as with the talent in the team. So I think he's not going to chime in with others like Elon Musk and Xpeng here, who are promising us a really new world here based on that. So he's highlighting the benefits that AI will bring into the automotive industry. We'll see. I think the NIO World model approach might be very interesting. That's how I covered it on the channel. And I'm looking forward to also see those results when it's being launched. In general, this whole AI topic might be a bit in a bubble, especially if you look into US market valuations and when you've seen what DeepSeek exposed when it comes to this, in my opinion, false capital investment narrative out there. So the truth ultimately might be somewhere in the middle of that. And here, I think NIO doesn't create much of false hopes or expectations and narratives, and that's a good thing, in my opinion. So let's see how that pans out. Now, a question is about the model strategy. I hear sometimes people say NIO should have less models, like this analyst suggesting that also with his question. Let's see how Li Ben replies. But I think what NIO is trying to do is to kind of get into the same model as a BMW, for example, not a Tesla.
Firefly, our overall product strategy and portfolio for these three brands will also be quite different, as it is also dependent on their respective segment and also brand positioning. For the new brand, we will basically keep the existing lineup, spanning from 300,000 RMB all the way to 800,000 RMB, and it will covering for me, for family, and for business segments. With ET9 being delivered, we are completing this this price coverage from 300,000 all the way to 800,000 price segments in the premium market. And for the premium market users, they actually care more on the personalization and also the unique identity of the vehicle products. If you look at other premium brands like BMW and Mercedes, they actually offer 40, 50 products in their lineup. So for this segment, users care more about the differentiation and also the personality of their products. As for the Onvo brand, we will be more careful with the number of products in the lineup. This year, we are going to introduce 2 new products under the Onvo brand together with L60. There will be 3 products in the lineup by end of this year, and we will not drastically increase or expand the existing portfolio, but to control that within a reasonable range. As for the Firefly brand, it is a high-end small car brand. In that case, it's not necessary to really offer too many different products. So our overall strategy is to have a differentiated product portfolio and lineup for different brands, but overall maintaining a rather stable and reasonable product lineup across 3 brands. But for each model, there will be also emphasized the highlights and also targeted user group.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from Yuqian Ding from HSBC. Please go ahead.
好的，感谢高李晨，我是雨倩。2个问题，第一个我想请教这个现金储备，然后供应链的反馈和我们潜在的融资。
So I would say the reply by Li Ben around model strategy makes a lot of sense. In the target segment, which NIO plays in, that kind of a customization is expected. I agree with that. That's it. That's why NIO is no Tesla. And those people who suggest NIO should have fewer models, I also don't buy that, to be honest. Of course, for Onvo, the story is different, and maybe for Firefly, let's see going forward.
Given the volatility between quarters, the supply chain coming from a more conservative perspective, and how sustained would that require additional financing, no matter it's debt or equity? Can we have a little bit more clarification on that? 第2个问题想请教资本性支出的今年的计划，就是可不可以给我们一些拆分？因为刚刚公司有讲到换电网络的扩张，我们还是在持续的，但是因为我们也跟宁德合作了，所以有一些合作对象可不可以 cross leverage 一下？然后大概的这个方向是什么？ Second question is about the capex guidance. Can we see a little bit breakdown into a refreshed capex guidance this year? We talked about a commitment into swap network, but since we signed up the collaboration with Cattle, can we leverage partnership to do some capex building? Can we expect the capex to taper off this year? Thank you.
好的，雨倩。第一个问题呢，就是到24年底呢，整个公司的现金储备是491亿元了。那其实呢 ，Q1 呢，当然整个的销量按照我们的这个指引呢， 会有环比的这个下降。
So while they are answering in Chinese, let me just go back to William's question here. Did they address the spending issue? Yes, this has been the major topic of this call so far. I think all of the first questions have been about that, and that's the main topic of this earnings report, which I think has shown more net losses than people have expected. So that's the main issue, how they are trying to solve that going forward. I think we've heard some remarks, what are the reasons and the problems and what should be the outlook. So if you're new to this live stream, please go back and watch the recording later on. And other than that, I really appreciate more than 600 people tuning in already. Sorry for some of the technical problems, and sorry I cannot always explain fully. If I'm just able to talk in between when I'm talking in Chinese in the background, I'll take some more time in the end for some Q&A before finishing off this live stream. Anyways, feel free to like and share, and make sure to be subscribed so you can also raise your questions.
Regarding your first question on the cash reserves, by the end of 2024, our cash position was 49.1 billion RMB. And in Q1, as we see the decrease in the sales volume quarter over quarter, we did experience a operating cash outflow. Yet, as we have introduced that this year will be a pivotal years for our product launch, as we witness the rebound starting Q2, we will also see major improvement in the operating cash flow. And also, as we have previously introduced, starting Q1 this year, we have conducted a series of adjustments and also streamlining activities. This will also reflected in our financial performance starting Q2. Overall speaking, we will be prudent with our cash flow management to make sure that our resources can sustain our continuous growth and development. And regarding your second questions on the fundraising, we have various options. We have various fundraising channels for the capital market, for the US capital market, RMB capital market, public or private. We will be planning our fundraising requirements and activities according to the operations of the company as well as the changes in the market.
Okay. 关于第二个 capex 的问题，2025年呢，因为我们今年也是我们产品的这个大年。所以我们这些相关产品的它的这个供应商的模具啊和一些生产的设施会逐步的投入使用，所以再加上呢我们在合肥的这个第3工厂也会随着我们一些新产品的这个投产也要投入运营，所以
So, I mean, obviously they will not announce on a management call whether or not they're gonna raise funds again. I think the cash position actually has been one of the positive highlights of this report, that it's at 5.7 billion, so it's not an immediate problem. But if they keep on going like this, then of course it's becoming a problem, right? So that's why analysts keep asking about fundraising. And they just saying basically, well, we've got various ways of doing that. I covered it on a channel before. I mean, one way obviously is to issue shares on the US markets. I think market cap is too low, and to really do that in a substantial way, that's why they're now bringing in more partners on the China side, on NIO China. That's a way of raising cash. Plus, they have the investment by Abu Dhabi, which can funnel in payments, I think, at some point by 4-7 ventures. That hasn't happened so far, but maybe we'll see that towards the end of the year. And that might be actually also a leverage of the board and the new shareholders over Li Bin, who has a major voting rights power.
As we have mentioned that this year we will launch major products. In that case, we have made the capex spending in the toolings and also the production equipment together with our supply chain partners. And in the meantime, as we are launching new products, our third factory is also going to be put in operations depending on the overall production plan. So our capex this year will be higher than in last year, but still we will have a very prudent measure and manner in managing our investment pacing and also our cash position to make sure that we have a very good control over the spending. In terms of the capex for the power swap stations, starting last year, in terms of the power swap network expansion, we have already started to adopt one principle, that is to leverage the resources of our power swap partners as much as possible. As last year, we have announced the Power Up Partner Plan, where we invite the partners to jointly build the swap stations and the network. For the Power Up County Plan this year, most of the stations will actually be sponsored or built by our partners than by ourselves. In that case, the capex utilization for the power swap stations will also be relatively limited.
Thank you, Yujing.
Thank you. The next question is from Ming Sun Lee from Bank of America. Please go ahead.
William， 还有管理层您好，那我就直接用英文提问。So first question is regarding your autonomous driving technology plan. When do you plan to roll out your end-to-end model? And in the future, do you consider to use the Thor chips in your car, or you will use your Shenji chips in all of your NIO branded model? Thank you. That's my first question.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a pretty bad question, unfortunately, towards the end of the call. I mean, that's already all known. He even calls it end-to-end model. I've covered on my channel that NIO World model is actually going beyond end-to-end. I'm not sure if Li Bin has taken the time to explain that in a call now in the background, but yeah, sometimes analysts are really not into depth of the company. That's unfortunate, but on the other hand, NIO is not always explaining themselves as good as they could, and frankly, they have a lot of explanation to do regarding their cost control and the whole path going forward, right? So understandable some of the analysts' questions, but this one I think is particularly bad and unfortunate to us because it doesn't bring any additional insights. Let's see. Li Bin could use it as a means to pitch the NIO World model again, but he has been quite conservative on his previous remarks about AI. Let's see how he's going to reply.
那么我们今年2025款的这个2025款的5566都会使用我们自己的这个芯片。那后续的车型，我们 NIO 的车型都会用到这个自己的芯片。那么Onvo 的话呢，我们目前呢是用这个 Orin X， 那这个我们目前没有用SOR的计划啊，所以我们不会用这个SOR芯片。
Thank you for the question. Actually, last year we have already implemented the end-to-end solution to our active safety features. As different companies may have a different priority or force ranking on the technology applications, and for us, we believe that safety matters the most. That's why we have implemented the end-to-end model firstly in our active safety features, and we did see major improvement regarding the safety level week over week by 40%. So it is playing a very important role in providing a safer trip for our users. And in terms of the end-to-end solution based Navigate on Pilot Plus for the city roads, we have also started small-scale testing and internal testing, and we plan to release that to our users by the end of April after a series of preparations and also approval applications. And regarding the use of the chip for smart driving, ET9 is going to premiere our in-house developed chip for the smart driving. It is made with advanced manufacturing process, the Next 9031. And after ET9, our 2025 model year, the 5 and the 6 series will also be launched and equipped with the in-house developed chip for the smart driving. So all the future new models will be equipped with this in-house chip. As for the Onvo brand, currently it is using the Orin X chip for the smart driving functionalities, and it does not have plan to use SOR.
Thank you. My next question is regarding the OPEX, because in the past few quarters, we continue to see your gross margin continue to improve QoQ. But for the operating expense, do you have the latest guidance and new plan? For example, in the past, William mentioned that the stabilized R&D will be RMB 13 billion every year. Could you give any new updates for this number? And also for the sales and marketing expense, do you have any target ratio? OPEX ratio for this number. Thank you.
好的，关于 OPEX 呢，第一个这个研发费用，我们今年呢基本上也还是会维持在每个季度 non-GAAP 的投入30亿。
Yeah, good questions here, James. Why don't you go on the earnings call? I think you can just dial in and you try to get the operator pick you next time. Seriously, I agree. Some of these questions by the analysts are not great, and unfortunately wasting our time here a little bit now towards the end of the call. Overall, still, I think the call is pretty much going as expected.
The R&D funding and expenses. For this year, we will continue to have the same intensity level for the R&D expenses, around 3 billion RMB every quarter on the non-GAAP basis. Of course, as mentioned by William, this year we have rolled out the CBU mechanism where we emphasize more on the projects with high return and also high yield. In that case, we will also optimize our project initiation and approval process to make sure that our R&D expenses are reasonable and also efficient.
关于 SG&A，一季度呢确实是有挑战，主要是因为一个呢这个销量，一季度是整体的这个淡季，销量呢相对比较低，所以整体的这个销售费用的这个规模与销量相比呢，就是会这个比例会高一点。第二个呢就是因为乐道的这个人员和销能的这个扩张，在Q1呢也还是在。
Let me try and get this question quickly. For now, I don't see the need for a cash raise in the US equity markets, at least. I think they have other ways of tapping into cash, like they're doing with the investments by CATL, NIO Power, and the 47 venture. But if it doesn't help, if the measures don't help and if they don't improve like they're promising for 2025, and if they don't get to a Q4 quarterly break even, then things can get quite dire and unsustainable. And then they might need to raise new cash, or actually are in a situation where they don't get cash, as they really like at a reasonable valuation. So that's becoming an issue, definitely, but only in that worst case scenario. So for now, I think it's okay with the 5.7 billion, but I mean, it needs to stop with the net losses going up, right? This must have been the last quarter like that. The trajectory now needs to go down of the net losses. So, and if that's the case, I think it might be even possible to break even without further cash raises.
Have bigger challenges to manage in the first quarter of this year, as Q1 is normally the off-peak season for the sales. The overall volume in Q1 is not so high. In that case, the SG&A expenses account for a bigger part to the sales revenue. And also in this quarter, we are still building up and expanding the sales and service network, as well as growing the sales force capabilities for the Onvo brand. In that case, Onvo's SG&A expenses is also higher. But as we have introduced, we are going to take a series of actions to improve the efficiency and the productivity of the teams, and also to streamline the non-frontline sales functions, to consolidate some of the sales functions between the NIO and the Onvo brand, and also to leverage NIO's network for the sales of Firefly. With all these actions taken, we expect the better results to be reflected in our financial performance in the coming quarters. As we grow our sales volume and also gradually achieve the break-even target in Q4, you will also see SG&A accounting for smaller portions to the sales revenue. And with that, you will see also the effect reflected by the improvement in both volume and also in the efficiency of people and expenses.
谢谢 William， 谢谢 Stanley。 That's all my questions.
Thank you. The next question is from Jing Chang from CICC. Please go ahead.
感谢管理层介绍的提问。那我这边就跟进问一个小的问题，就是我们看到我们四季度整体的公司的其他收入的毛利率 转正，然后达到了1.1%，能否给我们再详细拆解一下原因？是售后啊，还是说换店服务的这个点亏有持续？然后我们往前看的话，可能伴随整体换电车数量累计的增加，我们预计该部分就是 other sales 的这个毛利率，可以逐步是达到怎么样的一个水平？So my question is regarding to the other sales, other revenues, and we can see that in the fourth quarter, the gross profit margin of other sales has already turned positive and reached 1.1%. So could you please break down the reasons for this?
关于其他业务的这个毛利情况，我们其他业务呢，主要有几个部分，一个呢是我们的售后服务，第二个呢是我们的这个能源服务，第三个呢是我们的技术服务。那从4季度来看呢，我们售后服务的这个效率其实还是在持续提升的。那个能源服务呢，因为我们换电站的布局啊，还是在为了我们的销售还是在超前布局，所以这块的亏损呢还没有再收窄。那4季度的这个盈利主要还是来自于我们对外提供的这个技术服务的收入。那我们对于我们的供应链合作伙伴和一些关联方的企业，我们提供了一些我们的这个技术收入，那在4季度也达到了这个2.2个亿人民币。那这个呢，它因为是随着我们项目的周期去不是非常 routine 的计入到我们的这样的一个财务报表，所以呢，在接下来的这些季度里面呢，会有所体现，但是它不是那么 regular。从一个2025年度的展望来说呢，随着我们保有量的提升，我们售后服务的效率还是会持续提升。那换电站的亏损呢，因为今年我们线通的计划，我们还是在超前布局，所以因为超前布局的亏损呢，会。
Sorry, I was just waiting here to get the final question. This might be the last question translated, but I'm still talking lots in Chinese here. I'll do a little wrap up by the end of the video. And yeah, I guess the end to the earnings call will be not far from now. So overall, I think it's going pretty much as expected, this call.
For the question regarding the gross margin of other sales, it mainly consists of 3 things: the revenues from the after sales services, revenues from the power services, and also revenues from the technical services we provide to the supply chain partners and also to affiliated parties. And in Q4, we have the positive margin on other sales. It's mainly because we have been continuously improving the efficiency of the after sales services. Of course, in terms of the power swap or the power service in general, as we are still making advanced deployment of the facilities and infrastructure network, the loss is actually not significantly narrowed from the power perspective. And for the other sales to be with positive gross margin in Q4 last year, it's mainly because of the revenues from our technology services provided to the partners and also the affiliated parties. It's around 220 million RMB in Q4 last year. Yet such revenues are more project-based, and also it's relevant to the cadence and the progress of the services we provide to them. In that case, there will be in the future, there will be also similar revenues, but it will not be a recurring regular revenues from that perspective. In 2025, as we continue to increase our vehicle population, we also foresee continuous increase in the efficiency of our after-sales services. As for the power networks, as we are still making advanced deployment of the power substations, we will still encounter slight loss making with the combined margin of the after-sales services and the power services, if we exclude the technical services. In terms of the technical services, if we can make major deals or if we can make major progress, probably there will be some good news to disclose.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from Tina Hao from Goldman Sachs.
Okay, questions still going on. That was a very interesting one because it sounded a lot to me like you got some technical service fees from some of the partners for the battery swapping partnerships, but I haven't seen that actually written in the earnings report. I might have to re-listen that part also in Chinese because they were talking about the other sales because they are actually looking quite good compared to the regarding profitability compared to the rest of the automotive business, right?
对，当然这个虽然我们还在这个
Now I've missed the analyst question, which was in English. Sorry about that. Yeah, still trying to wrap my head around the last response, which was about this technical service fees, which might implicate something like the battery swapping partnerships, or even the 4/7, partnership. However, the licensing deal. I would like to really see that more explicit. That was a very, very interesting part of the question and reply. Maybe I'll make a follow-up video again if I have researched that.
长期来讲，从运营和销售方面的一个，我们认为是一个长期的一个基本的一个生成线吧。
As right now the company is still striving to be breaking even in Q4 this year. If we set for a longer term outlook for the future, we believe that for the smart EV companies or for the automotive industry in general, to maintain a relative competitive edge among the competitions, a annual volume of 2 million units with 20% gross margin, 7 to 8% net margin, that will be a baseline for a smart EV company to survive for the longer term.
Thank you, Tina.
Oh, thank you, William.
Thank you. As there are no further questions now, I'd like to turn the call back over to the company for closing remarks.
Oh, wow. What a lengthy call. Finally, the last question. Sorry a bit for the troubles during this call with the microphone. I hope it's working now, as well as missing some of the questions or didn't get all of the details. But I'm trying to cover it live as much as I can and provide my feedback. So what we've seen in this call, I think, was as expected, starting going into the call, lots of questions around Onvo and the cost problem and, what has led to the disappointing, sales in Onvo, especially in Q1. I mean, obviously, we can already see in Q1, although that has not been part of the Q4 report in which they actually met the guidance, right? Also, never forget that. But certainly, it was a problem that they guided for 20K Onvo sales in Q1, and that hasn't happened. And now we've heard about a couple of points which they outlined and ways how they think going forward they can improve. With that, yeah, I would say the report itself did have some positives regarding the margins and maybe the cash balance, and also, here and there you can see some extraordinary points are being highlighted, like the depreciation of RMB assets and stuff like that. But I mean, it's still not to my expectations and certainly not to that of the market and the analysts out there when it comes to this Q4 numbers. The net losses just need to start to come down in the next quarters. Q1 is a trouble given the seasonality, but also the current sales metrics that we've seen. So I think management kind of guided us towards looking at Q2 going forward and reiterated some of their full year and Q4 guidance goals and targets. So sticking to a Q4 profitability metric, sticking to doubling sales in 2025. I'm with them on the profitability side for Q4 2025. I think that's possible. I'm not with them with doubling sales, especially given now, I mean, Q1, it hasn't been a disaster, right? It's still growth, even if you look at the competition out there or how other companies are doing, especially in their target segment and so on. They are not growing. For example, Tesla is actually going down. But still, guiding for doubling of sales, it's pretty big call. And now, given the fact that they haven't always been able to reach their targets easily, why would you do that, right? I think for Q4 profitability, it's not needed to double sales. All we need is really a better operation and execution And unfortunately, we haven't seen that in the last couple of months, especially when it comes to the Onvo launch. I think NIO actually doing pretty fine as a brand, but for Onvo, I think they have made some brand and how they're marketing it. I mean, easy for me to say from my chair here, and not being involved on the ground, but certainly I think there are many ways of improving that. My personal opinion on Onvo is that the product is good and it will grow over time, but it takes time and a better execution. So they make vows today how to do that, but I mean, ultimately the time will be the most important factor here. So personally, expectations going forward are not as high growth as they possibly have mentioned today, but still I'm looking for a good outcome in the end, right? People have asked about the going concern of this company and the financials and so on. And yes, certainly the current path is not sustainable, but I'm still invested in NIO. I'm still looking forward to hopefully achieve a good return on this investment, because I think the potential is huge in what they'd like to achieve, but there's certainly no guarantee that they will achieve it. Otherwise, investing would be very, very easy, I guess. So yeah, it's potentially a problem going forward if they don't improve, because then we might need new money, or we even may not make it, right, with this investment and with NIO. But again, that's not my expectations currently, and it's not my base case. I think we will see improvement in 2025. And with that, hopefully also finally return on the investment. But everybody needs to make their own due diligence, and you need to know whether or not you want risk exposure or not, and whether or not you believe management or the company and the vision and so on. I keep iterating my views on why I'm invested, not because it's a new Tesla. No, it's not. Not because I think they should reduce the models. Not because I think they should go into AI like robotics like XPeng is doing. Not because I think they should necessarily sell their cars in the same stores like XPeng is doing with Mona and stuff. No, I think NIO should follow its own path and be something else, be something different. I think they should really be better at promoting battery swapping and marketing it, and also reaping the benefits in terms of new revenue streams and profitability with the partners, with grid balancing and so on. All of that needs to become more successful. And in that case, I think it's something which will be hard by competitors to replicate. But until they made that, it's just hope, right? That's it. So far they haven't proven it. That's the unfortunate thing. So the validation of the business model is still out, but on my Excel sheet, on my plans and hopes, it's working at some point in the future. So let's hope they learned their lessons and that they can start executing going forward. Definitely very, very low belief and sentiment out there into NIO, in the management and so on currently. I've outlined where I agree with management, where I don't. And yeah, that's it for now. I'm wrapping it up here. Been talking quite a long time. I hope you enjoyed that. Will be available as a recording. Some stuff I need to dig into again regarding those technical service fees. That would be interesting if they're already included. It's in a way, it would be not good, because then some of the other sales have been propped up already by some of the licensing fees. But again, I need to listen to that again. But I remain positive, optimistic. That's my nature as an investing perspective. I think you cannot invest with a negative perspective. That's impossible. But obviously, NIO is not for the faint-hearted and not for everyone. So thanks for watching, guys. Please smash a like, keep on sharing, and see you in my next videos.